Tonight, when you go to bed, try something. Turn off every light in your home, not just the lamp, everything. No phone, no screen, no soft glow leaking under the door. Then stand there in the middle of the dark and wait. Within about 30 seconds, something will happen to you. Your heart will begin to pick up speed. Your breathing will go shallow and quiet. Your eyes will start straining at shapes that you know are not moving. And somewhere at the very back of your skull, a small and ancient voice will whisper the same thing it has whispered to every human being who has ever lived. Something is there. But nothing is there. You know nothing is there. You are a grown adult standing in a locked home, a member of the species that sits at the very top of the entire planet. And still, your body does not believe a single word of it. Your hands stay ready. Your ears strain. Every instinct you have is screaming at you to turn the light back on.
Here is what almost everyone gets wrong about this feeling. You are not actually afraid of the dark. Think about it. Darkness is nothing. It is simply the absence of light. It cannot touch you. It cannot reach for you. It cannot hurt you because it is not a thing at all. It is the absence of a thing. And yet, the fear is real, and it is powerful, and it lives in almost every person on Earth. So, if the darkness itself is harmless, then what is it that you are really afraid of? The answer is hiding inside your own head. You are not afraid of the dark. You are afraid of what your brain starts doing the very instant the light disappears. And once you understand what it is doing and why it has been doing it faithfully for the last 300,000 years, you will never be able to stand in a dark room the same way again.
Let's start with the most uncomfortable fact of all. This fear is not a choice. You cannot think your way out of it because it does not happen in the thinking part of your brain. Deep inside your head, sitting just above your brainstem, there are two small almond-shaped clusters of tissue called the amygdala. This is your brain's threat detector. It is old, far older than language, far older than reason. It runs constantly, scanning everything around you for danger. And it does this whether you want it to or not. And in 2021, researchers made a discovery about it that is genuinely unsettling. Using brain scanners, they watched what happened inside people's heads as the lights changed. When the light was on, the amygdala was calm. But the moment they took the light away, the moment the room went dark, the amygdala lit up. The fear center of the brain physically becomes more active in darkness. Not because anything appeared, not because anything moved, simply because the light was gone.
And it gets stranger. There is a reflex inside you called the startle response. It is the involuntary flinch you feel when something sudden happens, a loud noise, a touch you weren't expecting. Scientists can measure it precisely. And when they tested people in the dark, they found something remarkable. In darkness, that flinch becomes stronger. The exact same sound, the exact same surprise produces a bigger reaction when the lights are off than when they are on. You are measurably more on edge in the dark, even when you feel calm, even when you know you are safe, even sitting in a brightly familiar room with the lights simply switched off. Your body has quietly shifted into a higher state of alert without asking your permission. So this is the first thing to understand. When you feel that creeping unease in a dark room, you are not imagining it, and you are not being childish. Your brain is doing something real, something physical, something that has been happening to human beings for longer than we have been human. The only question left is why? Why would evolution build a creature that is afraid of nothing at all, afraid of the simple absence of light?
To understand the fear, you have to understand a truth about yourself that your ego is really not going to like. Today, you are the apex predator of planet Earth. You sit at the very top of the food chain, scrolling on your phone, deciding what to order for dinner like a tiny smug god. Nothing hunts you. You have never once worried about being eaten on your way to the kitchen. But this is brand new. On the timeline of our species, humans have only been the dominant predator for a sliver of a fraction of our history. For hundreds of thousands of years before that, we were not the hunters. We were the snacks. Picture your distant ancestor, same brain as you, same fears, same love of a good nap, but instead of a locked apartment, they had a thin patch of darkness between them and a world absolutely full of things that wanted to eat them. And they were, to put it kindly, not well equipped for it. No claws, no fangs, no armor, just soft skin, a big anxious brain, and the running speed of a slightly motivated potato.
And here is the cruelest part. Our eyes are good, wonderfully good, during the day. But the moment the sun goes down, we go nearly blind. Meanwhile, the animals that hunted us were just getting started. Leopards, hyenas, big cats, wolves, their eyes are built for the night. While our ancestor was squinting at a shadow going, is that a rock or is that death? The predator could see them perfectly in crisp, patient detail. The darkness wasn't neutral. The darkness was enemy territory. And the data backs this up in a way that is genuinely unsettling. In modern Tanzania, researchers studied lion attacks on humans and found that the attacks spike dramatically after sunset. They are around 60% more likely in the hours just after dark. And it gets worse. The attacks peaked in the nights following a full moon. Because in the days after a full moon, the early evening falls darker, and the lions had learned to hunt exactly when their prey could not see them coming. Read that again. The predators understood our weakness. They scheduled their hunting around our blindness.
So now look at your ancestor, sitting in the dark, heart pounding, every muscle tensed at a sound they can't identify. That fear you feel in your hallway at night? For them, it wasn't anxiety. It was a survival tool. The ones who felt that cold spike of dread when the light failed, who stayed close to the fire, who didn't wander into the black, those were the ones who lived long enough to have children. The relaxed ones, the ones who shrugged and strolled into the dark, they got eaten. They didn't get to pass anything on. Which means something strange and a little beautiful. You are not descended from the brave ones. You are descended from the scared ones. Every single one of your ancestors, going back hundreds of thousands of years, was frightened enough of the dark to survive it. That fear is not a flaw in you. It is the reason you exist at all. But there's one piece left, and it's the strangest one. Because here's the thing about the dark. There usually isn't anything in it. So why does the fear feel so vivid, so specific, so alive? The answer is that your brain refuses to sit in an empty space. You are a creature built almost entirely around your eyes. Vision is your dominant sense. Most of your brain's processing power is poured into making sense of what you see. So when the light vanishes and that flood of information suddenly stops, your brain does not simply switch off and wait. It does something far more unsettling. It starts filling in the blanks itself. With no real data coming in, the brain begins to predict what might be there. And because for millions of years the safest guess in the dark was always something dangerous, that is exactly what it conjures. The shape in the corner becomes a figure. The coat on the door becomes a person. The silence becomes footsteps. The monster was never in the room. The monster is being generated in real time by you. Your own mind, drawing a predator onto the blank canvas of the dark, just in case. And this is where it stops being about predators at all. Think back to the very first time you were afraid of the dark. You were a child. And a child's brain has a fully working fear center. The alarm fires perfectly. But the part that talks you back down, the rational voice that says, that's just a coat, there's nothing there, is years away from being finished. So the fear arrived before the reasoning ever could. The dark was the first place you ever met something you couldn't see, couldn't understand, and couldn't control. It was the first unknown. And if you follow that feeling all the way down, past the predators, past the childhood bedroom, you reach the thing the dark has always really stood for. The dark is what the world looks like when you are not there to see it. It is absence. It is the unknown with the lights off. And the deepest unknown of all, the one waiting at the very bottom of that fear, is the one none of us can see past. What happens when our own lights go out for good?
So tonight, when you turn off the lamp and feel that old, familiar unease settle over the room, remember what it actually is. It is not weakness. It is not childishness. It is 100,000 generations of survivors whispering through your nervous system, telling you what kept them alive. Every ancestor who ever froze at a sound in the night, every child who ever pulled the blanket a little higher, every human who ever stared into the black and felt their heart begin to race. They are all still inside you. The dark hasn't changed in 300,000 years. We just built a world bright enough to forget it. But switch off every light, stand still and wait, and it comes back in seconds. The racing heart, the held breath, the certainty that something is there. Nothing is there. Nothing has been there for a very, very long time. But the part of you that remembers being prey has never quite believed it. And maybe it never should.